opposite of normal. The Casio, the Oriana, all banned towards Knight. Little difficult to whittle down his champ pool, but I think that's a pretty good crack at it.
You were spot on, Mazel. We got a lot of mid lane focus already in the draft here when it comes to these bans. Locke also taken off the board, the two champions I called out. And then, of course, Oriana and Casio in terms of consistency. Certainly going to be pinched pools, but notably things like Victor, Rise still left up on the board. These are all very... Syndra still left up on the board. A very strong, especially flex pick for BLG, a team that has been very willing to send something like Syndra into the bot side, or really any mage into the bot side for Viper. I'm curious to see what that final ban for JDG is going to be. I expect a lot of jungle priority, considering basically all of them are up, but now Rise is off the board as well. You know, mid lane pool already pinched pretty heavily in game number 1.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. 5 out of 6 so far, which is not too bad for mid lane. Not something I feel like we always see. We do see the high profile ones banned away, but not usually 5 out of 6. It is the Ezreal locked in for Viper though. Very safe pick, very strong pick. Very big late game carry, and that's exactly up Viper's alley and what he's been playing towards recently.
Yeah, Ezreal, his second most played champion of the split, only behind, of course, what we all expected, the Xerath, in terms of most played champions.
Great champion.
Yes. You know, it's definitely a very consistent pick. It lets him play weak side, and this does tell me that they want to try and get something strong for Knight in the mid lane from a matchup perspective. Probably going to be saving him for a little bit later. It's going to be the Rumble pick on the top side, generally very, you know, calm and collected, can really match up in anything, and this has really been Xiaoxu's champion over the course of the last, you know, year, even going back to last year at the end on JDG when he first got picked up. This has definitely been the pick that they wanted to go towards, so I think that consistency makes a lot of sense here.
To get the Jhin locked in on top of that, so going with a little bit more standoff-ishness, I guess, if that's a word. Probably not, but we'll see what the combo is going to be. I expect the bot lane to be picked up here, at least for BLG, just to get that out of the way and get some powerful picks in that 2v2, something that can roam away at least as well. Would be very powerful on, something he's been really highlighting, but we'll see what they want to delve out for the rest of this first phase. They will have the back-to-back setup here. Oh, Karma. And there's the Syndra.
Karma and Syndra. I like this a lot. For BLG, you get a really powerful 2v2 lane. Karma is a takeaway. Jhin Karma is a very strong poke lane, so to get yourself that poke lane with the Ezreal gives you strong side. Jin's going to be more weak side. JDG is going to have roam priority with Vampire, most likely because they're going to get to pick some sort of playmaking support, whether that be a Camille, a Shen, or if you just want to go for a Nautilus, Leona kind of thing. I think all of them could make sense in this particular instance. But I want to talk about that Syndra because we're looking at all of these mid lane bans. Well, now we're going into second rotation. JDG have still yet to pick their mid laner. We already have 6 mid lane champions taken off the board, and now they get to ban 2 more. I mean, you're really pinching the pool of HongQ incredibly thin here. I imagine things like Victor, things like Anivia, things like Ahri could very well be on the board as potential bans, and that's looking pretty scary right now.
And good call on the or talk about the Nautilus there, and we'll have that locked down at least, and we'll see what JDG want to focus in, because I expect all their focus to go to jungle. At least maybe try to whittle down some of the counter for top lane, as they do take away the Poppy, which is a little bit more of that focus towards some flexible picks here. But BLG's focus should be right as rain. It should be that mid lane matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I think banning junglers is necessary when you see something like the Syndra. A very popular combo that's kind of picking up in tempo right now across a lot of regions has been the Nocturne Syndra. I'm not as much of a fan of that in isolation, but it certainly could be something that BLG are looking for here in game 1, as you're looking at an immobile 80 carry on the other side, and Nocturne always feels pretty good in that matchup. It's going to be the Nefiri ban, so definitely giving some respect over to JunJia here, making sure he doesn't have that carry.
Yeah, I do like the jungle focus. Again, that combination between whatever JunJia and HongQ are going to be playing for this game number 1 is going to be of utmost importance for JDG to get a crack at BLG. Because the first time we saw this matchup, this split, since it is double round robin, it did not go well for JDG. Let's just say it like that. And it was a pretty tough series for them. So I know they're going to be wanting to kind of get some of that revenge, get that game score going up a little bit more for themselves. As the Lee Sin towards Xun, I love that teams are starting to respect this pick from him.
It's curious because I certainly agree with the Poppy and Lee Sin bans, but it's a lot of jungle attention. You ban the Nocturne, a lot of jungle attention to leave up the Jarvan. I imagine that is going to be the pick here for JDG. That would make a lot of sense. I don't really think you can give that over for free.
Absolutely easy. You get the hotpot special for free.
For sure. And it pairs really well with the Nautilus as well because it gives you somebody that can dive in and kind of set up a lot of those plays so Jarvan doesn't have to do it by himself. Really like this duo. You're going to have so much proactivity in the mid game because your support is actively going to be able to roam. Jin should be able to survive on his own in the 1v2 on the bottom side. Yes, Ezreal's probably going to get a big gold lead, but for what? We'll see if this Mbessa is locked in. I think this is the Cassante angle. If they really wanted to go for it, this seems like the most obvious pick you could get. You bring the tank player in, you give him the tank, but if they go for Mbessa, certainly would be an interesting call, and that's what it's going to be.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I was kind of memeing earlier, but he's got kind of a carry in some regard for Flandra. It was interesting, you know, when we were actually looking at Flandra, he's played, obviously, Mbessa a good amount, and it's all about his entrances in the later game team fights. I think some of those can look really good and be that kind of engager for the team, because that is something they're very much lacking. So they're going to be trying to use that as either primary or secondary engage, and now they're going to have the Xin Zhao with it.
Yeah, I really like the comp here for BLG. I do think you kind of have to play this really aggressive because you don't have that free engage support, and the Victor is going to be that final lock-in. This is the most played champion for HongQ throughout all of this split as well, so just a lot of comfort coming in on both sides, and I think both of them have very clear identities. I mean, JDG have drafted this full engage team fighting comp. They want to play for 5v5 surrounding Rumble, and Victor with Jarvan and Nautilus trying to frontline, whereas I think BLG are set up much better for the early game and their ability to, you know, actually generate advantages, mostly through that Ezreal Karma. When you draft an enchanter in this meta with the way that things have gone, you have to get a big lead in the bot lane. Your AD carry has to be a big deal. We were excited about Flandra and Viper coming back together. Well, both of them are going to be key in this one.
They are indeed, and that combo with the Ezreal Karma can be oppressive, but we'll see how much love the bot lane ends up getting, because that brings all of our attention to the junglers and where they're going to be pathing as well, because both Jarvan and the Xin Zhao can both have a little bit more of an aggressive, maybe invade-centric path as well. So it's going to be a fun one to see how this game one sets out, and I think it's going to set the tone for the series between these two teams. Because again, second meeting between them. Last time you would see this team either side until the playoffs, if that does come to pass, and you definitely want to continue pushing for JDG. It would be a fourth win in a row for series after they have such a rocky start to this split. And for BLG, it would put them back into first again and keep that one up over Top Esports, at least for the time being. So, you know, it's weighing heavy, at least for both teams.
Yeah, and JDG, just in their own right, has struggled to take down BLG all year long. This has been their nightmare matchup. I think they got a very good draft that I honestly kind of prefer here in game number one. We'll see what they can do with it.
How the turntables. Now BLG are the big brothers of JDG. It is game one of our final series, the first day here in week 4.
JDG! JDG! ¡Jiayo! JDG! ¡Jiayo!
Man!
Whoa!
Look, even the crowd is laughing at how quiet. There was one person. There was one. It was the chant leader.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
That's rough, man. I don't know what JDG did to deserve that. They're on a 3-series win streak.
Flandra
They have a draft
fans
that I really
are out there.
like. Yeah, I guess it's.
Didn't know he had it like that. There's the Shy and there's Flandra. I mean, come on.
You gotta cheer for Flandra, I guess. You know, in his debut, and he's gonna have the chance to pop off here. This Mbessa is gonna have a lot of room to operate. Curious to see how much attention they want to put onto the top side. It's 2 more damage-oriented threats, so if one of them does get a gold lead, that could really matter. At least for now, though, pathing is going to be towards the bottom side of the map for both of these junglers, so keep an eye on this Ezreal pretty early on.
I'm always down to keep an eye on Viper's Ezreal. Probably one of the best to do it on the champion. Obviously, a lot of other well-known players on it, but I've always personally really liked Viper's moves on it. We'll see the level 2 get procced up for both teams, but Vampire just goes for a little supportal combat trade as a nice little graphic we have popping up as it's been a bit of an embattled split for JDG. Let's be real. They do have a lot of comfort for themselves here, at least, but on the other side, some, you know, not as many pick times for them, at least on champions, especially for Flandra, because being able to be on the team first, and then Shun as well and Xin Zhao. But both of them are going to be taking the same path, so we are going down towards bot lane, and JunJia is doing some sneaky tricks.
Yeah, I am curious to see what JunJia wants to do here, because If he makes a play happen early on onto this bot side, that could really change the outcome of this game. He is not.
Come on, you know you want it. They're crashing. Come on, come on. You want to go. All right.
Oh, man. Unlucky. Yeah, we were all hoping, I think, for some sort of play there. I think they recognize, yeah, if we lose that play, it's probably game over, like instantly on the spot. We can't afford to give any gold down there, so it is just going to be a crab trade from these two junglers. I think stalling out the early game is more than fine. So we kind of await and see how these lanes are going to break down, but it does bring back into conversation just how important it is for Viper and On to continue having this pressure. I imagine bot side is still going to be the focus, but he's wrapping around on Knight.
I was talking about JunJia with the sneakiness, but Knight plays down to his jungler. Really nice cover from Shun, but also nice move from Knight to get away from that one. I will say, I'm asking myself if Flandra was able to get a grass proc there up in the top side. We'll see if what that's looking like in the long term against the Rumble. But we will see also the next pathings for both these two junglers, because they'll be coming out as a redeploy coming from Shun a little bit later than JunJia.
Definitely appreciate you pointing out the grasp, because that is certainly an interesting take into Rumble. We will see if that ends up panning out for him. You know, he's got a lot to prove.
Because I saw them trade there. I was like,
yeah.
No way.
There is no way. There's no way he took grasp, right? Well, we'll see if he can make it work. Clearly, he's got some confidence in his ability to skirmish in this lane, so we'll see how it ends up playing out. Also worth noting that Knight did take the Comet here as well, so no Airy for the Syndra. That is typically pretty common in a lot of these matchups. Again, a lot of belief from BLG, and I think they have a lot of reason to believe with how well they've played. This has been one of the best early game teams in the world, if not the best early game team in the world so far this year. We'll see if they can keep it up here.
Been fun to watch this team throughout this split and this year so far as well. I've also been having a lot of fun with seeing ADCs take exhaust, which I'm very happy to see Viper take that. Keep any threats away from him, which there will be many this game. But so far, pretty calm and easy between the two teams. A slight laning lead for BLG for now, but it'll keep going back and forth between the two. But that also brings us to the next conversation of these objectives. And we were talking in draft that it is a little bit more on BLG to get the ball rolling, to get things going for themselves. And maybe some early stacking of the objectives could be the play, as HongQ is the play and gets the flash out of there to safety. We'll have burned that one, though, and absolutely repeatable on the game.
Yeah, that's a really big deal, because Victor is a huge part of how JDG can defend against some of these early plays. That can't really happen anymore. No flash on Victor makes him incredibly susceptible to any sort of offensive play. JDG still are going to try to control the area here, get some vision down, and potentially pressure this dragon, but I think this is a risky play as Vampire makes his way mid.
JunJia has returned to the night well many a time already in this game. Has not come up with water, but he keeps returning the bucket, and one day, I believe, he will find water. But it's nice to see them know where they want to focus. We put a lot of focus on the mid lane. I think both teams know that that's where a lot of the centerpiece of this team is for both sides, pun intended with being mid, but it is more so now how they get off the ground, because it's all well and good to go visit and to see things, but not being able to purchase off of anything is going to be something that BLG need to think about.
For sure. This should be a free dragon start as well for them because of the pressure that BLG have on the bot side. You know, this is what you get for drafting Ezreal Karma. You're going to get free push, you're going to get free early dragon. Not really a ton of ways to contest this, especially now that Victor has lost Flash. Probably couldn't contest it before that anyways, but makes it even easier now as Vampire is going to continue to get chunked out. What JDG need to do to make sure they can equalize a lot of this is not just counter map, which JunJia is looking to do with the invade here onto the red. He will be spotted on a ward, but they also need to stay active on the map. JunJia gets spotted here. Perhaps they can collapse for a play with Rumble Push as well.
I've appreciated some of the vision that we've seen from both junglers, or at least on the junglers. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's fine.
Oh.
You know, early in the game, new team comp with Flandra. I feel you. Give all the excuses. It was looking for a little bit of cheap damage onto Vampire. Didn't find it. There is a bit of a cheap invade that JunJia always tries to find.
Huge.
And he's able to get some of the chickens. This is a common occurrence, though. It's funny how the old EDG junglers both really like to go for the chickens, but maybe that's a deeper conversation. And it looks like we are going to have a bit of a stalemate until we start getting some of these team fight setups potentially for JDG, and that was a strength of theirs that we highlighted.
Absolutely. That's why I think that smite onto the big raptor was actually really important. Getting that level 6 and making sure that you can start to at least dissuade some other plays around the map if you are the Jarvan, not being incredibly behind in terms of tempo after Knight stops your red buff invade, I think is really good. Really important here. JunJia is a huge piece of this team, but player we haven't talked about as much is Vampire. Really have not mentioned him a ton even throughout this split for JDG. He's kind of taken a step back a little bit from maybe what he was in some of the first couple of splits. He's going to need to be big in this game on the Nautilus if they want to continue to keep their pressure up.
HongQ getting traded onto there by Knight. Both teams is hovering 3 people mid, as we've seen the entire game so far. And again, rightfully so, because that prio will lead to the Herald here, or at least the Grubs, not Herald. And you can see both teams really want control over the river, want to try to control for this neutral objective, and that's going to potentially bring down the top lane.
Yeah, the problem is that right now, Flandra doesn't exactly have the most amount of combat power into the Rumble in terms of what he's going to be able to do. I think he's experiencing it. Hey, we're getting a fight.
Engage went through. Dredge line went a little bit wide. Hits the depth charge there. They go, BLG themselves go on to Xiaoxu and take him out with the power unleashed. Xun has been tanking up a storm in the fight. It will be On who has already fallen. Vampire might just give his life right back though as he sees Knight and Flandra there, and that'll be a double kill for Knight.
Just an overextension for JDG. This is a really scary spot for them to fight in, and the fight is staggered. It looks okay for them at first because so much pressure is put into Xiaoxu, but ultimately there's way more combat power in favor of BLG. Xin is just way too strong at this point in the game to try and contest him. JunJia is in the area. See if he's going to try and punish Xun, or if this is just going to be a 2-for-1 take. Actually going to be a fight, potentially. Oh, the interrupt.
Oh my god, he got the combo there. And now Flandra's made it over. Equalizer will immediately back them away. The white flag does come up, and Knight, who moved over to come here, gets completely collapsed by JDG.
Just a small mistake there by On, overstepping and trying to save his jungler from potentially being in a bad spot himself. Xun should be fine here as he's going to walk his way out away from Vampire. But we are going to get a bit of a replay here as this is generally a good fight for BLG. We can already see the good priority on the top side. Ult is hit, but now Knight's in danger. Just kidding, HongQ.
Knight just got a solo bolo. He might not make it. Oh my god, he does, because the TP and because of Xun coming over. That is the ultimate Giga Chad play right there from Knight.
Okay, small problem in the JDG comp. We're playing for scaling, we're playing for team fights, and we've given Syndra 3 kills. That's not great. That doesn't feel so good going into the later part of the game. This is a phenomenal spot for BLG. Flandra's going to get even more gold here in the mid lane. That 1.5k gold lead is very real. Viper's been doing his job. Dragon is up in 1 minute, and they're going to have full control over this river because of their respawn timers as well. This is a nightmare for JDG right now.
It's a really tough position to be in, but I do still give them the fact that they can hold on and potentially get to a place of promise, especially they've got first items coming up as well as BLG, but you know, they got the Sundered Sky and JunJia's going to feel a little bit more sustainable there as well. You got the torch coming through for HongQ, that's going to feel pretty good, and I think there are some power spikes that you can feed off of to get you later into the game, but can't be having moments like this, Kman.
I mean, this is just a misplay from HongQ. He steps up without the proper amount of mana. Knight sees his angle despite both the Jarvan and the Nautilus being there. I think the crazy part is that he gets out, that this teleport actually does save him. They overextend there, they do kill themselves, and they lose even more on that play. So Knight just burning Flash to pick up a solo kill. They're going to be very, very happy with that.
And we get round 1.5, I guess, is what I would call it for this next dragon. As both teams are fully set up around it, and we just want fisticuffs. We want fights. But that feeds into the BLG machine. Crescent Guard did go through, and Xun's trying to heal up as much as he can from the Sundered Sky. He actually survived for a long time there, and Knight's about to pick up another double kill here for himself. It will be a kill back, but a fourth shot not going to be there to save him, as that's Knight and Viper combining for more. And you look at the scoreboard, and there is a terrifying sight there, Kman.
Well, Knight didn't exactly have the best week of his entire career last week. I think he wanted some revenge in this one. He's definitely stepping back up. He's level 11 to HongQ's level 9 right now. just an absolute demolition in that fight. We're going to get a replay. Shun just realizing, hey, you can't be here. You can't fight over these neutrals in the way that you think you can. On is chunked out pretty early, but Vampire's not nearly tanky enough at this point. They do a good job to capitalize on the Xinjiao, which is important to make sure they can't immediately go and take the objective after. But if Viper and Knight are in the area, they're just going to have more damage than whatever you can put out at this point in the game. Ezreal is at his absolute strongest, and Knight obviously is very accelerated. The Jhin trying to equalize things, but ultimately, now we're in a spot where they get Dragon for free on the respawn, and they get even more kills onto their carry, and HongQ's dead again!
Yeah, more kills onto the carry. Knight, the carry, at 6-0, as HongQ is just egregiously overstepped there, unfortunately, and he pays the ultimate price for it. And the avalanche is coming, Kman. We haven't even taken the last grub. It's still sitting over there. Viper, he's in some trouble now. He should have the arcane shift over the wall there. Still also does have flash, so he is fine and dandy. And that whole time, BLG was just taking away the jungle of JunJia.
And that's the thing with Ezreal Karma that just makes it so difficult to play into, is not only are they so scary as a poke duo, but if the Karma wants to roam, Ezreal's just the best weak side AD carry in the game. And so you kind of get the best of both worlds, being both strong side and weak side this game. We'll see how much attention they want to put into it. Herald has spawned on the top side. That is the next major neutral that both of these teams are going to be fighting for. But with that 3k gold lead, 2,000 of it being in the mid lane on Syndra, just feels nearly impossible for JDG to be able to walk up if Syndra is there. They have some okay vision control, but man, this is looking tough for them.
I'm going to stir the pot, Kman. I'm going to stir the pot because I like stirring the pot, all right? I got the ladle.
Okay.
Is this what happens when you don't have to put resources top lane? Is that
Ooh.
you know, when you can put 3 people mid consistently? No, just you know, talking a little trash on behalf of mid, but no. It is interesting to see how much both teams were just so willing to camp out that mid lane, try to find something, and for BLG it worked out for them.
Yeah, it's definitely working out for them. I think JunJia looking to try and make a play.
They're going to get a big shutdown here. He gets another kill before he dies, though. Screwjob Barrage came across the bow on, and Shun trying to combine to get JunJia down. Viper goes for the Mystic Shot, and this is why I said I like watching his Ezreal. He finds a nice little pop shot, and now he's keeping Vampire under bay. He goes with the early arcane shift to get the distance. This is a masterclass. Ezreal already coming out for Viper.
Look, I get the idea of the play. You try to get the shutdown gold, even if you lose 2 for 1 in that exchange. You theoretically are getting more gold onto the carries that kind of need it. The problem is, 3 for 1 is not worth it, and also Viper's going to get this entire tower, and he got a free double kill there. Jesus. This is just worst case scenario. Also, small correction on my end. I talked about Herald having spawned. They never took grubs, so that was what was on the map. You know,
it was the one still, very lonely grubby tubby.
Just hanging out, just chilling. You know, he's probably happy to not have to worry too much about being taken down. Unfortunately, I can't say JDG feel the same on this engage. Knight just obliterates HongQ. I mean, if you're going to pick something like Victor, you have to be so careful about making sure you're positioning properly, and HongQ has just been out of position here. Viper, he turned around too. Walk away from the explosion, man.
Oh my god. And then this, they're not going to show it. The preemptive arcane shift to get onto the actual finishing point of the dredge line was super awesome. You just see the TP coming bot. They want to punish Knight, but then he's going to TP out. The reverso technique comes through from the legend himself.
There's just nothing that they can get on the map right now. Every play that they've gone for has not worked. Dylan is soloing the Rift Herald as they make that play onto the bottom side, sending both of their solo laners. They only have 1 plate on this bot lane tower. It's just been a complete disaster for JDG. They're down almost 4,000 gold here at 16 minutes. With Herald taken by JDG, that's only going to get worse. Both of these primary carries now have massive gold leads. Viper very quietly has just been, farming up in these side lanes. He's gotten so many plates, multiple towers. He's up 1.5k gold. He's on 2 items. This Ezreal is going to be nearly unstoppable. We keep talking about Knight. Viper is an incredible carry in his own right now.
And it only gets better for the Ezreal, as he's going to be close and close to his evolution of his item, and that's going to feel even better. Knight is on 2 items. We have Viper on 2 items, and we have about less than a minute for another dragon. It'll be a soul point for BLG. JDG starting to get the odds stacked up against them here in game number 1, though. About 3.7k lead for BLG, too.
Yeah, I mean, they do theoretically have more upside in some of these 5v5s, especially in small, close quarters, because the Victor ult on top of the Rumble ultimate can be a big problem. Jin should be able to be more effective the more narrow the fight ends up becoming, so theoretically there are some ways for JDG to get back into this one, but it's going to take a miracle engage because the gold lead right now on Syndra and Ezreal is terrifying. We got to keep an eye on HongQ. He cannot die first here.
I think they're a bit overextended here. They don't really have the powerhouses. Shun's gonna have to pop the Crescent Guard, and here comes the powerhouse. One hit from the left hand, and maybe how about a second one from the right? Viper goes ahead and takes him down, and that's your 2-fer. They might even go for a 3-fer, give somebody else a little bit of a chance. Knight's gonna take that kill anyways.
You can't catch out BLG. Like, it's just, this comp is not going to be caught unaware, and I understand JDG at some point being like, we have to pull the trigger. I think these small 3v3 skirmishes in the jungle are not what they should be looking for. I think they continue to kind of be misusing their composition, and BLG are happy to take advantage of it. Is Herald going to get a charge onto the bot side? Knight's probably going to pick up this tier 2 in the bot lane, and you get the dragon off of this. I don't know how much more BLG can even get. Teleport coming in, but is it going to work out in their end?
He's going to try to outplay this one.
Oh, good flash.
Does not have a shutdown, which is pretty massive because they're just killing him for normal gold, and then they don't even kill him as he still walks away from the burning man, and that Shun engage is going to be a little bit tough as JunJia goes right back in with the Cataclysm combo. Scout of the Week does go a bit wide. Meanwhile, Viper is just trying to kill Vampire, which is hilarious. Knight goes with the alcove play, has to get a little bit of a help from Flandre to get out, and now Flandre's in a little bit more hurt. Viper coming over about half health. On's going to hit some damage back, and so is Knight. JDG can't go any further for now, but they do get a bit of a response. Still, the gold lead has exploded to 2 times what it was just a few moments ago. They'll get a little bit back here on the bot lane.
I mean, it is good to get gold. Anywhere on the map right now is a good spot. You have to invest a ridiculous amount of resources in order to get it, but we get a replay of this fight. Once again, I understand the idea of being like, oh, wow, Shun and On are overextended, but look at how close Knight and Viper are to this play. It's really easy for them to collapse, and the moment that Syndra and Ezreal show up, it's just completely unplayable. The exhaust is completely superfluous. I mean, you have no need to exhaust this Victor. He is 100% dead. It's just to BM him. But, you know, they are going to pick up at least some gold off the back of that play, and now Shillen could be a target here again.
And will he be able to get the Crescent Guard off? He does. This has happened, what, 3 times in a row now, but now they've got a double flank coming through. They take down Knight, get his little shutdown, and they'll end up taking Shun down too. Gala gets the kill. Viper's left alone on his side of the map, but it still fights back from JDG.
Okay, this is starting to become a little bit more possible. On is overextended now. He's with Viper. We'll see if he can make his escape down to the bot side.
BLG are losing their minds a little bit.
Xiaoxu.
Walks straight in. Xiaoxu, yeah, On's just dead. He's going to sacrifice his life here. He burns the flash. Okay, gets the equalizer out. It's trades for trades, I guess. And that will be On, who just gets burned alive by Xiaoxu.
Okay, well, they've cut the gold lead pretty considerably in the last couple of minutes. A couple of nice fights for JDG. They're going to need at least 2 more of those, I think, to get themselves back into this game. The good thing is objectives are starting to become possible for them to take. I think the gold lead was really the big limiting factor because their comp is actually pretty solid in the back end of this game. Still a pretty big deficit for them to overcome, but even being close to neutral in terms of gold is going to make this Rumble and this Jarvan and even the Victor a lot more scary. HongQ has had his negative moments, but he does have 4 kills at this point, which is going to make him a bit of a damage threat.
I mean, we've seen BLG lose a 7,000 gold lead before, and it wasn't even that long ago. It might still be fresh in their minds, but it is something we've highlighted from draft. JDG's composition is ridiculously strong as all 5 together in the later parts of the team fights. And they're starting to combine some of those pieces, right? Like, you're starting to see some of that damage come through for HongQ. It'll be a little bit for Gala. He's obviously going for his 3rd item, which will be huge, but you just have to be able to hold on. And Vampire barely holds on himself.
I guess you just kind of have to deal with that. If you're the Nautilus throughout the rest of the game, he's going to be zoned off here. BLG are looking for a fight.
They're going to extend pretty far for this one, but they do get HongQ. He goes with the audacious charge and able to finish that one off. JunJia goes in with the cataclysm, but just gets shot in the back by Viper. And now here comes Flandra, the newest addition to the team, trying to make something happen. He's had a pretty quiet game so far. Should just going to 1v1 the Jin. No, fourth shot comes through, takes him down. Gala gets another one.
At least they were able to pick up the Xinjiao eventually, but the healing on that champion was utterly ridiculous in that fight. Really good trigger pull from BLG. They capitalized on the fact that Knight chunked out Vampire right before that exchange, so it's really an extended, like, 4v3. In a lot of instances, just a good showcase. Once again, it's HongQ overextended in this instance. He separates from his own jungler, and at this point, Shun's like, yeah, I'll take the free victor. JunJia can jump back over the wall, but it's a really nice pseudo-insect ultimate from Shun on that Xinjiao, and Vampire has no health as this fight starts. Yes, JunJia can pick up a kill alongside Gala onto on the back end, but how much is that even worth? The only reason you get another kill is because Shun overextended to trade his life in this exchange, and even then, Gala still has to flash, and he almost gets out here. Look at the healing on Xinjiao with this red buff. It's actually just absurd what this champion can do from ahead. And for as much as BLG did kind of overextend there, it doesn't really matter as Dragon spawns, and they're still in a great spot to try and take this.
Again, it is soul now for BLG. They have done the due diligence to get to this point, and JDG have to answer the question. Shun goes for a flank here with the Hex Gates. He does pop the Crescent Guard, so he's going to buy a lot of time. Gala dodging out of the public execution. Flandra not able to lever that one in, as now they're going to try to get in onto Viper next, but Viper does Arcane Shift away. The Arcane Storm will be used, and I think JDG might have a chance to move into this Dragon Pit.
Yeah, we'll see.
Viper
and Knight.
HongQ, that is just greedy, my man. Viper finds him out, didn't know the ward was there, and a beautiful resetting of the moment from BLG and Viper, who now is 7-0 on this Ezreal.
I mean, they're buying time. They're going to try and take this fight 2v4. This is very difficult. Knight's on the backline just killing Rumble. They have the smite. JDG is the only jungler alive.
And Knight has his power unleashed up again, though On just instantaneously dies. That will be the depth charge used on a Viper. Dragon does end up going to JDG, so they buy themselves 5 minutes, Kman.
Knight still looking. BLG are just playing reckless here. I have no clue what the idea was. I think they were trying to buy time for Xinjiao to respawn, but your frontliner was a Karma, so of course she's going to get blown up in a lot of those instances. A crazy engage from Shun. Hope we get a replay of that, because that was a diabolical decision for him to go in on the backline at the start of that fight. Either way, JDG take advantage of it. Once again, the gold lead is cut to a very manageable 3,500. It still is very notable, and that kill onto HongQ was not ideal. But look at the differences in a lot of these players. It's only 600, 700 across a lot of these positions. JDG's teamfight comp is still going to be dangerous. BLG cannot continue to make these mistakes, especially with Baron on the map.
And you can see some of the chunks in that gold lead coming back towards JDG. The fact that they have gotten themselves to these 3 items, now working on 4th item spikes, especially for Gala, that's going to feel really, really nice for them. So trying to put those pieces together, still an execution bar that needs to be reached. There are terrifying pieces for BLG. Knight is about to hit his passive as well. That's going to feel really nice there for Syndra, and you're going to have the GA eventually completed for Shun. So all these crazy plays will have a little bit more sustain to them.
That's the thing about it, though, right now, is that you have a major objective on the map, and that GA is not completed. Shun has yet to hit that gigantic power spike that he's going to be able to get to eventually. JunJia should be able to take advantage of that, at least in the current time. The big thing that you got to keep an eye out for, the one player that's consistently been caught for JDG has been HongQ throughout this entire game. They need him to step up in these team fights. This team fight comp does not work out if that Victor is getting caught, but Knight, see if he oversteps on the top side, is going to respect the fact that there could be a jungler here. It's BLG who might be on the collapse.
God, the amount of times JDG have tried to find a play in the Knight, and his spidey senses just come tingling And he's able to get out of there as a
Oh,
deadly
On.
flourish does connect on the back end. Oh, they really wanted. Oh my God, On is just dodging everything. And it's Vampire that takes the brute force of BLG to the dome. That's JDG that have to immediately back away, and BLG are feeling it now. They're going to go in with the engage. Crescent Guard blocking any kind of rebuttal that JDG are trying to bring. And Shun is still tanking. He's trying to get some Sunder Sky procs here. He will die in the end, but all the carries are falling, and Viper wants more. Viper wants to take down Gala. He's looking for an angle now over on this Xiaoxu. He is playing like a bat out of hell on this Ezreal, and I'm here for it.
Just a dominant showcase for BLG. On sidesteps basically every ability, burns flash just because he can in the team fight, and now BLG are going to be on this Baron. That is the exact kind of fight that they needed in order to fully take control of this game once more. They thought they found another pick onto the Karma, and all that they found was a potential loss, as Xiaoxu's going to make his way in, but there is no way that they're going to be able to contest this easily.
Xiaoxu trying to get in, doesn't have the equalizer. That's the Baron taken by BLG. They might give On's life for it. He will fall.
Yeah, I mean, On gives his life this time. Maybe the flash would have been nice to have in this exchange, but they're going to be perfectly fine with that trade. And Bessa, Syndra, Ezreal, the three most important carries all have that Baron buff. Once again, we're going to see how this goes. He gets hit by the Jin W at this point, ends up cleansing out of it, walks away, dodges basically every single ability, whether it be the Jin shots, whether it be the Victor laser, and
whoa,
now
we
come
got a
back to
play going
life.
on mid. Flandra taking down under turret, and so was Viper. That was Viper's first death of the game. And now there's another pick in the GA we were just talking about, the thing we were hyping up.
Nice.
It's gone now, and Shun is trying to survive, but he's just gonna get taken down by a big shot from Gala. Knight TP's in on the backside of the play and doesn't find the impact he was looking for.
Gigantic play from JDG. That is the biggest play of the game up until this point. The gold lead has completely evaporated. You've lost Baron buff on both the Mbessa and the Ezreal. It's only on Knight at this point. JDG are very much back into this. I gotta see how this starts. Viper just arcane shifts forwards right onto the equalizer, and they're just overextended. It's beautiful from JDG, but it's a massive mistake from Viper. Why is he there? The former EDG bros just chilling out, trying to defend this tower for no reason. They get taken down, not nearly enough damage to be able to turn this around, and then Shun tries to get HongQ on the back end and pays for it with his life, his Guardian Angel. A massive mistake from BLG that could be game throwing.
And let's be real, Viper needed to be punished because he's been doing that all game. Just arcane shifting randomly into a composition that has multi-parts of engage. He immediately got punished, and now we have another carousel turning. It's another attempt at the soul for BLG.
They have started up this dragon.
Crazy.
They have to get this, though. They can't give soul.
They're going to try to get this fight going. Arcane Storm's coming through. Dragon secured. BLG get Hex Toll. And now it's raining damage into this grouped comp. You can see the lightning bolts are continuing. It's going to be 2 kills, 3 kills going over. He will look for a 4th one, and he will get it. A quadra kill for the golden left hand of BLG.
No Baron buff, no problem for Bilibili Gaming. They get the soul, they destroy the fight off the back of Knight and Flandra playing out of their minds in the 5v5, and they're going to march their way down the base, and they're going to take game number 1 despite the craziness that we got. I believe they're going to be able to end here.
16-2, 8-1-8, not too shabby for the combo of carries, and I am going to have a long conversation with you after this about what Flandra's feeling if he just rode this Bronco for the first time, because that's a hell of a game to come into this T1 to do almost nothing and to watch your carries do what they just did. Insane stuff from BLG.
It's exactly perfect for Flandra because he came in and he got both the highs and the lows in that game. He got the highs of watching Knight pick up a quadra kill and absolutely decimate JDG on his Syndra, and he also got the lows of, you know, Viper just randomly being in the mid lane, Shun just taking every single fight he can possibly think of, On going for a flank angle on the Karma, all of the good and the bad that BLG generally offers as a team. But he stepped up huge in that final team fight. That Mbessa was massive in destroying JDG after they got that soul. He certainly held his weight despite the laning phase maybe not going his way.
Viper's like, I feel like I'm back in 2020, 21 again. It's crazy. Oh, whoa. That's what I imagine is happening in Viper's head. I don't think that's what's really happening. But anyways, just want to say, a second 16 kill game for Knight this split. Insane. He last split was 4 out of the 5 top kills. I think actually he ended at 5 out of 5 of the top kills in games. It looks like he's already starting to make things work here, as that'll be his second time on the top list, and now he's got number 2 and number 3.
Look, I mean, you say, oh, it's the second 16 kill night game. I go, oh yeah, it's Wednesday. Like, that's just, hey, that's just what we got here in the LPL. This guy's the best player in the world. I'm sorry. There's no contest. Like, there just is no competition right now. He has been the best player in the world all year long. Don't give him Syndra. This champion's broken. She's really good in basically every circumstance. You pick the team fighting comp into Syndra. I really like the draft for JDG, but you can't give him 3 free kills before 8 minutes or whatever he ended up getting in this game and expect to survive that. 82% KP from the Syndra here, highest on the entire team.
Yeah, the fact that both him and Viper had 30+ damage percentage done, it's actually insane. So we're going to take a look back down memory lane at all the Knight highlight clips come through here. Maybe some of the cool Mystic shots. I guess we've passed a lot of that already. We're at level 12s. And this is also the first replay we get, and it's BLG getting killed. But you'll start seeing the turnarounds here soon. It was a tough game from JDG. I feel like they had a lot going for them. They were able to delay the dragon. They had a very clear team composition that had pretty easy to execute pieces, it felt like.
Yeah.
But fell prey to the constant fighting that BLG wanted.
I mean, it's pretty easy to summarize this game for JDG, in my opinion. If they did not have a 4,000 gold deficit at 15 minutes, they probably win this game. Like, if their early game was just, like, a little bit better, a little bit more neutral, they had multiple fights in the back end of this game where, despite being down 6,000 gold, despite giving over Baron, they were still in an okay spot to be able to try to make their way back because of their team fighting comp. The problem is they just fed gold tonight in the early game, and you just can't get away with that in this comp. For as much as we give BLG a lot of credit for the good plays that they went for, these plays look a lot worse if you don't have a massive gold lead, and I think, again, luckily for BLG, they were able to get it. We'll see if JDG can be a bit more patient in game number 2.
That's very true. And let's go back to my previous statement. What is Flandre thinking right now? What is going through his mind? He's like, do I even have to play? Like, can I put AI in for myself? Like, at this point, like, I feel like it's one of those things. He had some impact. Yeah. Missed a couple public executions. Don't think his impact had the biggest impact, but he's part of a team that runs like this, that has 2 carries like Knight and Viper, that can have performances like this. Is this a good thing or a bad thing in your eyes?
Hey, I mean, it's got to be a good thing for Flandre. He can sit there and go like, hey, whatever I do, I'm going to be fine. Mazel, I made a joke the last time we were on a cast together casting BLG, where I said, I'm the worst top laner I've ever met, and you could sub me in top lane, and I could probably at least make worlds with BLG with the bot side that they have. I think Flandre's like, oh, I can just kind of do whatever I want on the top side, and I'm going to get bailed out anyways. I'm sure he feels pretty good about that. The chaotic nature, maybe he's going to grow to love. Maybe that's more of a learning process for him, but I think in terms of the overall teammates that he has around him, how can you not be excited to see what happened in this game?
Yeah, it's a little bit more one-sided for my taste, but BLG definitely look just as strong as ever, and they just swapped out their top laner in the middle of the split, which is exactly the BLG thing to do, and they always look better for some reason when they make subs. I will say, do you feel like we get a similar draft for BLG as we do see the obvious MVP of that game, Knight, getting his MVP, his 5th?
I think BLG are definitely a team that loves to punish early games. I think that if you can get Knight gold like this in the early game, then yeah, do it every game. Please give me 3 kills on the best player in the world for free on a busted champion in the mid lane. That's going to feel pretty darn good. Do I think that they have the potential to, continue to push the tempo? Yes, I think JDG is probably not going to go for scaling again. That was really the team fight comp that they played. Like, they got all of their team fight champions. It's going to be a switch up for them in game number 2. We'll see how BLG respond as well.
I'm very curious, but so far they have had every answer in the book. There are still many more games potentially to be played here tonight between these 2 teams, and we'll see if that's going to be the case.